your dreams come true. Do it. Nothing is impossible. Do it. Make your dreams come true. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Just do it.
We made it. Welcome. It's hard to follow that thing up.
Yeah,
Good
man.
job, Abolished, on the new intro. Welcome to episode number 83. We're here with a full 9-person Brady Bunch panel, which is cool as always. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll introduce everyone. We'll get into it. Bates, we'll have you go first. Where can everyone find you, brother?
You can find me right here on the show, maybe on the Wake and Bakes and Instagram, Bake PWN.
Thank you, sir. Stabby? Stabby, do you have a social media presence?
I have a presence of sorts, but I try to keep it low key. Try to make it so that you can't find me. I prefer it that way.
Right. All right. Painted Lady, where can everyone find you?
Cheers, guys. Happy Sunday. Everyone can find me on Instagram and Cannabis at Painted Lady Gardens.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Brad?
Hello, happy Sunday, everyone. Quick little mic check. Give me a one of these or a one of these in the chat, please. I'm set up to a new mixer. As you can see, I moved my studio around, so please let me know how the audio is. I'm Red Cider Farm. You can find me on Instagram at Red Cider Farm. And don't forget about the late sesh, Monday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see here. I'm going to be kicking off probably the first episode of Behind the Veil tonight, probably after the show. Yeah, after the show, somewhere hour range, or 15 minutes to a half hour range, depending on how long it takes me to learn technology. We'll see how well Sequence can show my stoned happy face.
Hit the like button if Red's audio is good.
You're getting thumbs up, Brad.
Hit the like, and with those thumbs up, please hit that like. Thank you, Stabby. Appreciate that.
Ian says I'm copying you, Skilbo. What the F? I had the floating head first, for the record. Spartan?
Cheshire Cat. What's up, Cheshire?
Spartan, where can everyone find you, bro?
I mean, right here at the Michigan Bros Grow Show on YouTube or on Instagram. You can find me Spartan Grown, all one word. Same thing at Gmail if you want to send me an email, SpartanGrown@gmail. Shout out to the Forging Gardener saying, he just picked me and Painted Lady. We're both sexy fuckers today. So, hey, shout out to you, man.
All right, fair enough. Abolished, where can everyone find you, man? Is Missy there?
He's hiding somewhere around here. But Abolished Farms, you can find me at or on IG, YouTube, and wherever you see MBGS Productions. Let's see, are you out there anywhere? You want to introduce yourself? No, I guess she's not.
That sounds good. Yeti, thank you for joining us, sir.
What is up, everybody? Yeah, find me here on the Bro Show and find me on Instagram at Yeti Stash. Happy to be with you guys for another Sunday.
Of course. You had a sweet piece in the intro there.
Oh yeah, man, the wig wag.
Well, it looks like a Krunkelstein piece with a bunch of millies or something. It's wild.
Yeah, actually, shout out to Global Glassworks on that one that came out of their studio.
Really cool.
Always
Skilbo,
solid work. Those
you're the
dudes.
last
Keep
guy.
it local.
I am Skilbo1 on Instagram, Skilbo17 on YouTube. Cheers, everybody. I'm glad you could make it through this evening. Remember, I'm going to dovetail with what Red was talking about. Make sure you switch over to live chat from Top Chat.
That's right. Check out our sponsors that you saw in that video. State Genetics, the new one. Very cool stuff. We can talk about them in this show. We haven't introduced them as far as this show goes. Yeah, stoked on that for sure. And
I'm way too excited about that.
And Easy Swap Pots. 2020 wanted us to announce that they're doing the next section of the auto race. So that's being held through Great Lakes Genetics. So you can get free autoflower seeds from 2020 Mendocino for just the price of shipping. So go to Great Lakes Genetics and get hooked up with that.
Boom.
$7, I think, is what it is, flat rate for the Continental.
I mean, how can you beat that, man?
And
You know,
got,
and
well,
while you're over there, those dudes are really cool, man. They do give a lot of freebies and shit away, so you might want to start looking at them. It's nice to be able to support a Michigan seed vendor.
Michigan seed bake, yeah.
and I've met the guy personally
Yep.
and shook his hand, and I can vouch for him. And I've
Yep.
actually ordered from him, and I actually sent cash in the mail. You can send cash or a money order, but I just sent cash, and everything went through. I was
Okay, you're
good.
just fine.
So I'll vouch for that.
I liked those guys. I got to meet them at the event where Spartan won the light and the hat and all the fancy stuff from being the grower of the day. And that was really cool.
I'll vouch for cash sales. I'll vouch for cash sales.
Hey,
They give away a lot of like coasters and stickers and tons of extra stuff like that.
dude,
Man,
the swag
with
bag
your-
we got from them was huge. wasn't
With
it?
With the order that I ordered from him, I got a ton of extra. He's got his own genetic line too, called Bad Dog Genetics. Think about the genius of having a seed bank and then being a breeder. Oh my God,
Yep.
you got access to everything. But anyhow, so he includes some of his genetics in his freebies. So you get these fucking legit crosses as freebies. It's pretty cool.
It's always nice, the little hookups like that. It's the small things, you know,
Oh,
the added
yeah.
touch.
Put the link in the chat for everyone that was asking. But yeah, you get free autoflower seeds. Just go to that website, sign up for the autoflower race somewhere, and get the hookup.
Lucas Garden is killing me in
I
chat.
know.
She said, look at this Skilbo, and his microphone looks like a tiny body for his floating head.
Okay, can I get you guys with another one?
Like
Have
the
you, do
10
you
minutes?
guys know what it's like? Is like if you ever look at the KFC logo really, really closely, if you look at it wrong, you'll see it the same way every single time. Which is instead of seeing his bow tie, you know, the leather thing, it looks like
agree.
his body with his little arms and hands. If you look at it the wrong way, it looks
That-
like he's got like a big Macy's Day
Want some
parade
of what
fucking
you're
head.
That
Are you
recently
guys-
happened to me. I've always seen the bow tie until someone pointed that out recently, and it fucked me up.
I just want to see you do the cone heads for Halloween or some shit.
Yeah, man.
We got to get that done.
I got them Professor Xavier vibes.
Yes. you
Now I'm pissed, Skilbo, because I know every time I'm gonna look at that fucking kernel, I'm gonna think
Take
of
that
that.
hat off, man.
Got you.
So are you guys
Damn it.
are you guys wearing the same shirt, or are you just floating in the same?
No,
air
They're
I-
wearing green shirts.
You're both.
No,
wearing the
I
same
have
green
one
shirt?
of the new MBGS fucking hoodies, man. So it is nice.
I got to talk about. Okay, today I started trimming the Velvet Punch, the second pheno that I had of it. All right, this one is way more grape, way less hashy tasting. So this one's got grape and gas. So this one's grape and gas, and the high on, or the potency is pretty high on this because I smoked a joint and then I think it was 2 bowls, and I was pretty fucking amazed how high I was. And it's one of those ones that like makes your heart beat kind of fast. It's one of those I guess people would say sativa high, but for me it was just like my eyes felt high. You know what I mean? They felt real like laid
Oh, I
back.
love that kind of buzz.
Yeah, and then but I was sitting there trimming, so it was like perfect for that kind of, you know, thing. And but it was like a soaring high, and it lasted for like an hour. Like it was a long lasting high. So I'm stoked. You know, I'm intrigued now with that second pheno. The flavor's better, but now the frost level's lower. It's not sticky. It's the opposite. So that first pheno, it was real super sticky. And then this pheno is like grainy. You know what I'm saying? When you're trimming, you can just
like those
dust
sandy
falling off it.
trichomes.
Yeah, and it's like real sandy feeling. Yeah, exactly. It's so crazy how different these two phenos can be. And I was talking
like a
about
great
talking to
Leyland.
Jack about it on the Cheap Homegrow podcast before this, and he said that there's in the lineage there's an old Mexican sativa in the background, so it might be that expression coming out. So that makes me pretty excited.
Yeti, that grainy texture means something in relation to hash, doesn't it? Or does
Washing.
it not?
I like
Yeah,
it. It's definitely something I look for, both the sticky and the grainy. But honestly, that grainy, like that sandy texture, is kind of more sought after, in my opinion, for what I'm looking for. like when it almost feels dry, even though it's like a wet living plant. That's usually
Exactly,
like
yeah.
stable trichomes usually wash really well and hold up well. That's usually what I'm after.
Is that
Love
what
it.
that's called? Terp turtle? This thing? Reticello?
Oh, that's what it is?
Is that what that's called?
Yeah, the ready. Yep.
I was asking people what that's called.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was called, but I really like that piece.
Thank you for the education on that.
What's that? The pattern or the knot?
Yeah, I believe
Yep,
so.
that
yeah.
line pattern, which
The
I
line
believe
pattern.
goes back to like Italian glass blowing. A lot of the names definitely do stem back to European glassworking, like Milli Flori and
Milli.
all of the fancy names, really. But yeah, the ready is definitely a cool look right there and fancy technique. It's a cool pipe you got, man.
I'm curious how many of these artists, like I've started noticing, like
Excited, man.
like into the backstories of some of the glass artists, that some of the glass rods that they use are already textured and already have lines and already have the patterns already in them. How many of these glass artists are actually making their own rods with textures?
That's what the millies are. So like you can actually find the people that make the millies, which is what you're
That's
talking
what I'm.
about.
Yeah. Okay. Is
Yeah,
that what
it's
the rods
crazy.
are called? They're called
Yep.
millies. Okay.
Well, yeah, the ones that are like. Do you have your rig? That's the one from the intro, Yeti. That's got all the different.
So are there any artists out there that do pipes, rigs, bongs, or whatever, but
There's,
also make their own milli?
Yeah, there's this
See,
guy.
this is
Yeah.
made out of a bunch of different millies.
Yeah.
This
Right.
artist here,
Okay.
that's
Yep,
that's what he dials in on, really. That's their thing, is making these all these millies in house, and then they even pull down their own line work that they use also in tubing.
That one's sick.
Yeah, you have some of the thickest fucking glass,
Yeah.
bro, man.
We'll
Learn
try to
more
get a
about it.
glass blower on here so we
It's-
can
it's
ask
good,
him
right?
questions.
It's a cool
Shit.
industry, man. Like the way that they collaborate and stuff. They like I've seen a
Show
lot
that
of
off,
different
Yeti.
glass blowers collaborate together in
Yeah, man.
multiple with up to like multiple blowers,
Ah.
one single piece. It's really cool.
Dude, I'm that guy that
Oh,
goes
yeah,
into
they
like
do.
Marshalls
Yeah.
and just looks at the glass pieces, not even fucking pipes and shit. Just like, I love cool ass glass. Like, if anybody's familiar with like Chihuly glass and shit, used to be
In
the
Marshalls?
No, they don't have Chihuli's in fucking Marshalls, bro. But
Seattle's got a
Yeah,
really
what the
cool
fuck?
Julie museum. I want to go there
here's
so bad.
painted lady. Thank you.
Yeah, when
got
you
the
guys
One's on
silver.
an island, man.
Real quick, have you guys ever seen Rocco Glass? Like
The name sounds familiar, but I'm not. I
dude,
can't
he
place
makes
it.
the most amazing millies I've ever seen. Like he's done Biggie's face, like he's done all sorts of faces, and he does all sorts of crazy shit. He's on Instagram, just Rocco Glass.
Actually looking him up right now. You know who one of the glass artists that I really like is Ryan Fitt. If anybody has actually seen any of his stuff, he actually he works with metal. He does like, I don't know if it's probably aluminum, or maybe he works with like some gold plating and stuff like that. But he
Like
actually
cameras around bongs.
yeah, he'll do like metal wrapping around his bongs, and he'll do Puffco peak attachments. He'll do
That's pretty sweet.
he does, oh dude, he's really heady too.
Yeah.
He does some really cool Grateful Dead steelies and stuff. He does he does like really nice, almost like corncob pipe style pipes, which I really like. Even though I'm a huge Sherlock fan, I actually really like a straight pipe, you know, like almost like a corn cob. You know, it's the bowl's a little cylinder, and then you got a long tube for a long cylindrical tube for a toker. I like those kind, and he actually makes some really heady ones, man. He wraps them all in metal and puts other kind of like finishing touches on them. Excellent. RYANFIT, I think is his Instagram. I'm gonna shout him out. I have no affiliation with the dude. I don't know him, but
got a really cool style, really unique.
Well, get this: is anybody in the chat? If you know any cool glass blowers, drop that name in the chat for us. Always nice to leave breadcrumbs for people, man. If you know somebody who can blow,
Southern
let us know.
Blower, I'm pretty sure I've checked out Heady Hawaii stuff. I'm pretty sure he's awesome too.
Sequence, that new rig of yours looks pretty sweet.
It is.
Yeah, I really like it. I just got myself really high off of it. For some reason, I get really good hits on this thing, despite its small stature.
Your carb cap match?
My carb cap does not match. If you need any gift
outta here.
ideas,
No, you gave
Get
that
outta here,
disappointing.
noob.
if you need any gift ideas, my carb cap doesn't match anymore.
Your bastard system.
Dang. I thought it would.
Fucking rookie.
My cap
Man,
is
you can
yellow.
just-
It matches my old rig. Clash.
Just gives you another excuse to buy a new cap, my friend.
The Heady boys, like Yeti's judging me right now really hard for
Yetis,
No,
Headies,
dude, I don't judge
Yetis,
anybody.
Headies. Come on, man. There you go.
I want to shout out to High and Tight, and they said they're looking for someone good at blowing. They're asking for a friend. I'm going to have to refer him to Sequence.
Would love to
I
learn that,
mean-
dude.
Thought he
Would
was good at
love to
sucking.
learn that.
I didn't think Sequence did the blowing. I thought he just did the sucking.
Sequence will do anything twice, man.
I'll do anything twice. That's a known.
Market
For a
918.
matching
The wheels
carb
fucking
cap.
fell off this motherfucker.
For matching carb cap, I'll do anything twice.
That was my version of a dab bell.
Met
Oh,
2000 glass. I'm trying to see if what other names we got there. If we got any other names of glass blowers on there.
Mike Luna, who people
Mike
were
Luna,
talking
Mike
about
Darby.
in chat, is
Yep.
incredible. Mike Darby's incredible. Steve Sizlove, I didn't see him, but I'm gonna shout
we're
him
talking Michigan only.
out. Michigan only. There's some. I would like to find one that we can interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben might be down, man. I could talk to Ben about it. He's been looking to get out there more. And
I
don't know,
mean,
something
it can
to
only
think
help.
about.
People got to
Yeah.
get eyes on
He's
the
a really
glass.
good dude.
Somebody can talk about the terminology and like what all the like different
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah, what I should be using.
names.
Did you
and what's
mention
good.
JMP? Did you already say JMP?
No, I didn't say JMP, but
He's-
JMP
he's-
is Michigan.
he's-
Yep.
Dude, hey,
Sequence,
JMP,
can you
if
share
you
your-
are listening, we would love to have you on the show, dude. You make some fire products.
He's got. Does he have an Instagram?
Personal opinion. Yeah, JMP Glass, JMP underscore Glass. I think off the top of my head. I don't know if anybody else knows right off the top of their head, but
Katie Wright, Bear Claw.
I'm speaking for myself, but I'm sure that Sequence or anybody else might agree.
Have you guys
I
ever
love
heard
that
of American made glass?
I have a bong of theirs. Yeah,
I love my American
super
made
heavy,
glasses.
man. I get
Oh, dude,
super heavy beaker.
they are
Yeah,
heavy
there he is,
duty.
right there.
Yeah, I bought the beaker so when I had people over, it was like less likely they would tip it over and break it. Whereas like if
Well,
you have a
those
wine
things
bottom,
continue to
look at that
drop,
one
too.
right there.
Like
Okay.
my woman dropped mine on the concrete floor and it broke the
Jesus.
base off of it, but it's still totally functional. Like she didn't break the bong part.
Right,
at all.
just the
Like,
wine glass part.
Yeah, just
Those
the
are some
bottom of
sick
it.
ass pieces, man. Fuck.
I got
My
a shout out.
woman, what is this, 1956?
Michigan work.
Fuck.
Well,
I
I'm
love-
not gonna use her
Whoa.
name.
Bob Snodgrass is mashed.
I
Okay.
cringed a
Are you
little.
married? You
My
could say you're
property.
white.
I got to give love to the glass blowers that'll actually fix the pieces too. You know, if the break isn't that bad, and they'll re-weld it back up for you. I've seen
Yeah.
that with a few people.
Most of the American glass blowers will do it,
I love
and
it.
some of them will even do it for free. But yeah, I've heard of some that won't do it, or some that even ship pieces that aren't functional. So
I still have it's like a purple and pink bubbler that my daughter has, and she broke it years ago, but it's a perfectly clean break where you could literally put it back together. And I've been waiting to see if I ever meet somebody that is able to fix glass to see if they can do something with that, because it was a nice ripper.
Let me pick your guys' brains as somebody that
Braids.
sticks to the $40 specials, because I'll break anything that's nice bond wise. Is
Thick
I
ass
got
glass.
you. I got you, bro.
Man,
Tag. Thick ass glass.
DH gate. Get
Yeah.
you a Fabergé egg for
there you
$40
go.
bucks.
Yep.
That's a pretty famous
Knockoff
design.
of a mothership.
Yeah.
It's thick.
That's nice.
I've dropped it.
It looks like it is.
Red
That-
the
Joe.
that
reason
was
why I
pretty
say
sweet.
Well,
Yeah.
That one.
what I was worried about is there anything that you should be worried about if you're just going to the smoke shop and buying those $40 specials? Is there like
40, you shouldn't have to worry about it. But when you start getting to those pieces that are under, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but if you get to those ones that are under like $15 sometimes, especially if it's like frosted glass, it looks like it, you might want to take some like, I don't know, CLR or something and rinse it around inside of there and see if that's just a paint inside. Because I had a friend that had that happen to them. And it literally came out like paint, and then it was like just frosted clear glass. I thought, my God, what the fuck are they doing, man?
old polished.
Ooh,
Those
red.
those American made glass pieces are like $85 and
Yeah.
they're 35
They're tanks.
millimeters thick.
Mhm.
Dude,
Yeah.
they're fucking
Here, let me turn my screen
Need
off.
something
I'll
like
grab it.
that for sure.
That orange one's sweet, Red. It's a Halloween one.
Yeah, this might get slightly memeable again over here, Stabby, but it's not. I'm not going crazy with the pepper seeds.
When you go to look for a
That's
dab
sweet.
rig, look for one that has a
Wait.
female joint on the rig itself, because the opposite way around, the joint is really dirty. The oil will run down out of the joint all over the rig. So that's a thing to look for if you're shopping for one.
I always like those base designs with the narrow stem. You can get a really big rip out of those, like what Red's holding up right there.
Fucking dude,
Yeah,
these
those
things-
are sweet.
these are my
Where are you
favorite,
getting these,
dude.
Red?
Okay, so these are all from Noble Glass. I'm actually not using these. These are for display and for sale for the next event. Hopefully when we have the next
Oh,
event. But
I
yeah.
like that green one.
Oh yeah, dude. So these are Noble Glass. They
Oh.
do an awesome job with their wraps. They have circular stamps on some of them. They actually have a different pattern stamp on this wrap, and the bottom little squiggle base foot has the same type of stamping on it.
Is that like,
Solid.
is that embedded in the glass? Or is
Yeah,
that-
it's like stamp. You know, they use this.
That's all. It looks like a watermelon. That's dope.
Yeah, it looks like a watermelon, dude. Yep, exactly.
Bro, what is
Like
that?
watermelon.
What is something like that run for them?
I want to say this one's like $1.20, $1.10.
That's not
$1.20,
bad.
something
Not
like
too bad.
that.
What's
No.
going on the down stem of that?
And
Is
then-
that
It's removable down
gotta go
stem.
see
You gotta
Red.
like heat it up. You know, it's silicone style on there. It's solid, and then boop, this sucker just pops out. Each bong comes
What
with
noise
its
did
own
it make?
bowl. Boop.
Thank you.
It's a slight glass sound, but you can't. Boop. You got to do that. Nice and clean in there, but yeah, I mean, nice and clear. I really like this one. This one's like ice.
that bong's like perfect if you want to get.
I like
high
that watermelon one.
Yeah, dude, I really like the
Like 'em
watermelon.
all.
Yeah, bro.
I wish the only thing I wish it had like a solid green that vine going up of it instead of clear. It looks like it's clear.
Yeah, yeah. So they actually, Stabby, I'm pretty sure they have one that's even more of, I think it's called the watermelon. I think it does have some red in it or something like that. And it's a little bit more leaf structure. So
nice.
these guys do some awesome stuff, man. They have these flower.
Oh, that would look dope if that lime green part was red and it
This
looked
part
like the
was red,
watermelon
That'd be the
freaking
watermelon
spewing out of
cut
it
in half. Yeah, like a volcano, like a watermelon volcanoing, or like
with the vine wrapped up around
like
it.
Gallagher hitting it with a hitting the watermelon
Sledgehammer.
sledgehammer with a mallet.
Uh,
Yeah, and then this is the orange one.
bringing it back.
Oh, we could get stoned to talk
Halloween
about
style.
bong ideas all night long.
Love this.
We got Jay Wire in the chat wants one, Red.
Halloween bong.
There you
Honestly,
go.
if you're gonna get it shipped and everything and do that whole deal, I would probably suggest you hit up Noble Glass. That's probably the best bet. It's probably the most efficient bet. Mainly because these are primarily for display. I could order some more. I could do all the shipping, and but
Super
the
thick.
thing is I'm gonna have to tax you for it. So you could probably get them for like 20-30 bucks cheaper if you just go through Noble Glass. You might even be
Yeah,
able
go
get
to the
shipping and
source.
everything.
If you want to
covered.
support the show, there's ways to do that too.
Absolutely. Yeah, come to one of our events and then you can support it by buying one of these off of me in person. That would definitely be the way to support it. But yeah, you can get it cheaper from Noble Glass for sure.
Do they get an accompanying picture along with Red Setter Farm? Is that part of the
Nice
deal?
guy. Yeah, could
I'm-
get,
I
get a
don't have
signed
the-
8x10.
I'm not like an authorized dealer or anything by these guys whatsoever. I just purchased some of their stuff.
But you're an
on a
influencer.
excellent deal. I'm definitely
Yeah,
trying to
dude.
influence people to use their stuff. I would love you to use their stuff. I would love you to tell them, yeah, I would like to get
They have a
coupon code or
really
something
nice website.
in the future. Yeah, maybe I'll talk to him sometime and show him this nice little
Clip?
segment. Yeah,
That's your calling card, right?
little clip. But yeah, man, no, I really dig their products actually because the shipping was solid, the packaging was solid. Actually, when I got to the end, I was like, fuck, man, they didn't give me any little bowls. Where are all the bowls at? They were all packaged individually like they should have been. I got lighters, stickers. I think I got little posters and stuff like that. I mean, they did an awesome job. It was a really, really nice deal. So it was like I think it was like a Black Friday special or something that I got them all on. So I figured, why not jump on that? I want to make sure I have some stuff to put on display for our next big event and get things rocking and rolling. So I didn't want to go crazy and buy like a whole dozen of them. You know, I don't really do crazy online sales or anything like that. So maybe one of these days I'll wholesale for them. I'd love to wholesale for some glass artists. That'd be fun. It'd be great. I think I talked to enough people to make some moves happen. Wink, wink.
That'd be cool, Red. Because I like glass and I don't get any deals.
Yeah, me neither. So now I'm just holding on to all this glass, hoping that it doesn't break before I get a chance to either showcase it or sell it.
So, Yeti, there's a question for you here in chat from
What's up?
Turtle Farms. They want to know, this is, I make fire terpy flower rosin, but my hash rosin has 0 terps ever because I lose them all drying. Is there any advice on drying with no FD? I'm not sure what that stands for. Tried so many methods.
Like no freeze dryer, probably.
Oh,
I feel
okay.
like the sieving, the sieving, or honestly, my preference was always microplaning without the freeze dryer, which like basically just like deep freezing your full patty of hash, popping it out of the deep freezer, and like using a fine cheese grater like you would get at Bed Bath and Beyond over like parchment paper, like a baking rack with parchment paper, just getting like a really thin layer of it. And sometimes even that's a process where like you can only micro so much before it starts thawing out, and you got to pop it back in the deep freezer and let it get cold again, and heat process, and then drying it from there. Like if you can keep the room like a cool temperature, 45 degrees and low humidity, that's gonna like kind of dry it the quickest and preserve the most terps at the same time. But yeah, and then just like obviously like starting material, like if you use fresh frozen, you're gonna get a terpier end product than cured material. Like that definitely makes a big difference. I feel like a lot of the terps get lost in that drying process. So if you're not already trying to mess with some fresh frozen material, I would give it, makes a big improvement for you.
Yeti, what do you know about getting your material cold enough to like sublimate the moisture out? Or okay, let me put it this way. What do you know about hacking deep freezers?
I've seen it done, man. I've seen somebody post a video a while back that I've tried to look back up and I couldn't find it, but it was something like in regards to like you just said, hacking the thermostat on your deep freezer. So now instead of it getting to like -10, it was like pushing like -50. And like he was saying, you know, it's obviously going to shorten the life on this deep freezer, but like a cryo freezer is way, way more money than a just normal chest freezer. So
you go to Home Depot.
Yeah, man, I've never done it.
It's a, you know, this. I'm not an expert, people out there in YouTube land, so don't take this as a recommendation or advice. But hypothetically, you could get a 3.5 foot cubic, 3.5 cubic foot freezer from Home Depot for about $250. And what you do is open up the side panel, slide out the probe for the thermostat, which goes into the front of the unit, and reposition carefully that line so that the probe is near the compressor, so that it thinks that it's warmer than it actually is, and it continuously runs, and it forces the temperatures to like -30s, -40s, easy.
I could see that, man. That's a wild it's a wild theory. I bet it works. I've noticed some of my freezers get colder than others, and maybe that's even a little default.
It most definitely works. I may or may not know a guy who rewraps these things with Dippin' Dots stickers and sells Dippin' Dots ice cream out of them.
True.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, there you go. That's a cool idea. And then, all right, so in theory, the freeze dryer, what it's doing is getting your material, your hash at that temperature, that -50, for like, it only takes about like 4 or 5 hours to get it like really solid frozen. And then it's just like switching and pulling a vacuum on it and like gently warming those trays. So like, I'd be curious if there would even be like some kind of hack around buying a freeze dryer.
Yeah. Shredder brought up a good point.
Freezer.
You do need triple point to sublimate the moisture out. So I believe you have to put the material under vacuum. But the thing about those chest freezers is they come with a port on the front of them already, like a to drain them out. So I'm sure if you're already hacking this thing to get it to go to negative temperatures, that you might have the MacGyver skills to be able to put this thing under vacuum as well.
It seems like they already, like when you go to lift the lid on one of those, you feel like you're pulling a vacuum. Like they have pretty good seals.
They have
on them.
good seals.
They seal
on them
really,
for
really
sure.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well, like usually
Might
what
be onto
happens
something
in a
right there,
restaurant one
dude.
is if you once you shut the door and it pulls that little tiny vacuum on it, you can't open it for like 10 or 15 seconds. I mean, you can rip on it and fuck it up, but it literally isn't meant to be open for Red, you know.
You'll break the seals before
Yeah.
you open it. Yep. Yeah, those seals break really fast on those doors because of that reason. Cooks just love to try to
Rush
fight
it.
against.
Oh shit! I forgot this real quick.
Yeah, I mean it's a natural just reaction to do it, but you do end up kind of tearing up seals. Did anybody else see Bake do the dab before he did the dab? I think that was I totally
I missed it.
I did.
Yeah.
I was
He
wondering
did
what was
he
going
did the
on.
silent dab time. I like it. I totally caught that. The guys
now-
Somebody in
pay
chat
pay
threw a
attention to
dab
Bake.
out, so I
Well,
was like, it's
Yeah,
dab time.
Bake tossed it up for you guys.
Well, speaking of baked and everything else, is I want to make sure that everybody that's watching the show right now, if you didn't catch it, make sure you go back and watch yesterday morning's Wake and Bake with the Groceries. We did a quick return. We had a nice panel, nice time. We did a couple of giveaways. Shout out to the winners of that. It was lighted up again,
decent,
Tim
yeah.
and Fredo.
Um,
Thank you guys for shouting out the Polarity Science channel. Also, by the way.
Yeah, man.
I'm
Yeah,
excited.
I'm
for
looking
that
forward to the
channel.
premiere, man. We're gonna see that
Yeah.
in a little while.
Back to the hash thing though, real quick. You know, you got some. I'm sure there's some growers that are like camped up in a camper that don't have a chest freezer, can't use a freezer or something, or the power's out, or what's going on. I've never frozen my hash or done any of that. I've air dried my hash, broken it down as fine as I could get it. Lay it on a 5 micron, or I dab it all out. I don't lay it wet at all. Like I lay it between a couple 25 micron fabrics, something silk or something like that, and then I dab it out with paper towel, get it as dry as possible until I'm not pulling any more moisture out by pressing it, and then I break it up, crumble it down as small as I can kind of get it, and then I lay a coffee filter over top of it and let it kind of dry, and I swish it around and move it around all the time. And you know, I also like to just save my product all year. So this goes for very specific situations. You know what I mean? You obviously can't really do this in the summertime when the humidity is 50-60%. Your hash won't really dry unless you have environmentally controlled atmosphere in your room or whatever. So in the winter time is when I really like to do my hash. And a lot of people like doing their hash in the winter time because it's really cold, which is an excellent reason to do your hash. But I also like doing my hash in the winter time because it's really dry. And it's the best time of year to actually dry my hash, because no matter how hard I try with all the damn humidifiers in my house, I still can't get above 30%. So it's a great way to just leave your hash out. Just leave it out. It's going to
Good
turn
point.
crispy dry. You know what I mean? Now, if it's totally resinous, it's not going to go crispy dry. It's going to still be like really tacky and stuff. I've came across that with like Charas style hash that'll like come off my gloves. I'll leave it out on my table for 3 days and it will still be like Play-Doh because it's all just
Oils.
It's oil. Yeah, it's all oil. It's incredibly tacky still, but that's totally different. In my mind, that's completely different than the type of contaminated resin glands you were typically working with, like bubble hash and stuff like that. That's probably more of a refined product even coming off your fingers. There's at least those stitholithic greases and stuff like that. There's different stuff definitely coming off of the plant on your hands than there is like in the water. That stuff probably goes whoosh out in the water.
Hash talk's
there's more
making me
sounds for it,
stiffolific.
Stiffolic? Yes.
I like that word, stiffolic. Stiffolic.
Oh, you did it perfect the first time, damn it.
I can only say it once.
You used up all your luck.
Yeah.
One and done. Stiffolic. How about that
All
one?
your luck.
Winter's the best time to grow too, and I've already started to see like story posts on Instagram and stuff of people looking towards the summer and like, you know, negative views towards growing in the summertime compared to growing in the wintertime.
Oh, you're just fighting humidity.
Seems like, yeah.
Well,
They both
here
got downs.
you're fighting temperature. I guess with your LED rooms, you might enjoy it.
If I'm
that
gonna
helps.
if I'm gonna grow with all my lights this summer, I'm gonna have to either cut into the ducting, or which I really don't want to do, or get some sort of
All right, what's
portable
going on?
AC.
I got somebody telling me to speak up. I thought we all did thumbs ups here.
Yeah. You're probably just mumbling again, Red.
Turn me up. I thought I was articulating really well. I
Mumble
was actually-
reading
I
instead of
was
mumble
yelling.
rapping.
I was yelling the word stitholithic. How many times did I say stiff? All right, check. Audio. Stitholithic 1, stitholithic 2.
Anthocyantin 1, anthocyantin 2.
Anthocyantin.
I'd like to talk to
Purple.
Bro and just ask Painted Lady how her organic grow is going because I'm super interested. Are you a believer yet?
In my organic, it's just so weird not to be down there all the time, pHing and mixing and all that stuff. Like I go down there and like today I just spent time defoliating and just doing other stuff that I just don't normally do. So, I mean, not that I don't normally do it, but yeah.
Are they still healthy? Are they still growing fast?
Yep, and I was actually going to switch all the Afterglow girls over to bottles because I was getting tired of waiting for them to snap back. But this week they started to snap back, so everybody's looking really super healthy. I can't complain. It's really easy, and you know, I don't know. You might fucking have something.
Man, that's what I'm saying. It's just get out of the plant's way and let it do its thing.
But I see Shredder, I see your question about my side by side. I just took clones of the Lemon Jeffrey that I'm going to be running the side by side on. So they are just about ready to be potted up into their 1 gals. And once I do that, then that's when the side by side will be on. So stay tuned for pics of that. Right now, the only thing I have in flower right now is my little solo cup, my little JTR, my little Jack the Ripper going in flower, and then I'm gonna be flipping some to flower, some other ethos, some punchberry cookies.
How are you watering those things?
What sort of light are you using for this one plant?
What?
This solo
Oh,
cup.
the one I don't even have it in my flower room because there was no point in firing up all of my lights, or at least just one more light in my flower room. So I've just been moving it back and forth underneath my HLG. It was like an original, was it a 3,000 Kelvin? What was that original? Like 35, something like that.
Yeah, something like
I
that.
have it under that one. So yeah. And what'd you ask me, Spartan? Well, how do I water?
Not how. I was wondering how much. I mean, like, do you have to water it more than once a day, or how for that?
Oh no, not at all. No, I don't run really super hot temps down there in the bedroom, so it stays about like between 78 and 80. And
So that's just a real easy one. Just go and hit it with a little bit of water, and you're done.
Yeah, I honestly I probably don't have to. Well, I have them in different size pots right now, so I'm waiting I need some basalt rock dust to come from Build-A-Soil. I have that on its way with my gnarly barley, and yeah.
Talking my language. That's the good shit.
Yep.
Like with the number 6.
Yeah.
6.
We'll see. What's Fred saying? What's
6, the number 6. It's apropos to chat.
Yeah, so we'll see what's gonna happen. But I'm liking it so far. They all seem to be doing pretty well. Can't complain. You know what? The next thing I need to do is butt chug.
Yeah,
Start my
absolutely
butt
right.
chugging. Right, Abolish. You gotta teach me how to butt chug.
Super easy.
This is the way.
It's the way.
On the flip side, I've got Baked convinced that Jax is the way.
Yeah. I've done organics. Don't get me wrong. I tugged like 100-something gallons up here from Florida, but it's easy. It's exactly what she said. You just kind of don't do anything, which I don't like that. I need to be in there every day. Give me some cocoa. And I don't know. I need more control. I need more control than just leave it be and all that.
Well, you can be in there every day if you want. It's more of a drive to not have to be in there, but you want to be in there because you enjoy it. But you can find something to do every day in organics if you wanted to.
For me, it's for the end product. I just get a better end product doing it that way. So that's why I do it that way, to be honest. And it just so happens that for me it's easier and it comes easier for me. So it's just a double bonus, I guess.
Cheers, Daddy Red. DWC Gross dude says Jax is the way.
Cheers.
I can't wait to
I don't
compare
know.
the two in the
You know,
end.
you know.
I'm telling you, if you get one of those sip containers,
Man,
hell,
I can't wait to start growing again.
You know what the
Maybe
nice
one
part
of mine.
is as someone who gets to smoke both reds and sequences smoke, I also get to enjoy abolished and Spartan stuff. So I see a nice balance and I get to see what everybody can do with it. And I think it really comes back to with what you're saying, Baked, is that it's not the control, is this is a hobby for you and you like fucking tinkering with shit.
Yeah.
You like dialing things in to be maximum output with minimum input. You know what I mean? Like, what can I get away with? Sequence, you sing from the same sheet of music. You know, and Red's just over there doing red things.
So maybe Jax is all because Jax is
Well, it does give
relatively
you a lot of
simple
control.
from what
It
they
does.
explained. Maybe Jax is too simple for Bake. Maybe we should get something a little harder for him.
He needs
Dude, it
27
gives
bottles.
me-
Yeah.
No,
gives
no,
me
it's nice that
freedom.
your nutrients are simple. It's just having to go in there once or twice a day to water. They grow quicker, so you're defoliating more. I don't know.
I'm with Spartan. I love being able to just walk in and be done with it. Just
I haven't been disappointed with the end result on either my organic or salts, but that's the thing. So I'd love to get a half and half, but that doesn't really exist too much.
If you think you're running out of things to do with organic, you're not even scraping the surface.
Well, I mean, I set up blue mat and I had 100-gallon in a 4x4.
Yeah. Have you heard of KNF? You want
Oh,
to go
what?
down that rabbit hole?
That's
Well, yeah,
That's why I
yeah.
wrote Jack Stabby, because I would never have enough time in my lifetime to like conquer organic growing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just don't have
Yeah,
enough
if I
time.
wanted to close loop it and get a,
That's what
get a
mine
farm
is, man.
going.
It's
I'm
just
closed loop on a
efficient
small
for me.
scale, just to my
Well,
room's like
define
8 by
closed loop
12.
for people. What does that mean? Closed loop.
It means everything gets recycled.
It's like that movie Human
Everything
Centipede.
comes from you and your property. You've got some sort of animal or your poop or your dog's poop or something.
Where you're growing another plant to feed a plant.
Creating, yeah, creating the
vermicompost and
nutrients.
just with vermicomposting and composting.
Or yeah, that's a popular one.
Black leaf mold.
Yeah, and mulching,
KNF,
vermicomposting. Yeah, like
abolished
uh,
veggies.
I got a leaf mulcher where I can toss all my fan leaves and all my all that stuff in there and just mulch it up, and that's more worm bedding or more just organic material for the compost pile. Everything gets recycled or reused or repurposed in some way, and it's an entirely closed loop.
That's what I do.
Yeah,
whenever I
that's
take things
cool.
off in like the flower room, when I went through and I took all the last bullshit off, I just gather it all up in my hands usually at some point, and I'll just sit there with the shears and cut them all up into like 1-inch pieces. And you'd be amazed at how quickly that breaks down into the soil. You think that you would have this big leaf litter all along the bottom of the bed. That's not what it is. Not when you have worms in there and everything else is working and everything is breaking down and using the barley and getting all that shit going, man. Shit.
Yeah, that stuff doesn't last long up there.
Springtails do work.
Yes, they do.
Springtails do
Truly.
some fucking work.
And they look cool. I remember the first time I saw them, I had to ask somebody if I
You
had.
thought you had
some-
bugs? Like,
some-
fuck.
Oh, I had bugs already.
I think I sent Sync Angel a message about the springtails. I was like, because I googled it and you'll get results that are like they're the worst and all this, and he was like, oh, those seem fine. And I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
they're beneficial if anything.
Yeah.
Like they'll
Yeah, for what they do for us.
suppress bad mold. That like
Yep.
they'll eat all
They
that.
eat
shit.
the rotten stuff is what he
Yep.
told me and stuff, so it's good. And yeah, but yeah, I definitely agree with Skilbo. I when I did my 100-gallon, I bought a thing of worms and I threw it in there, and that really helped things along. But I don't know, organics is fun, but I don't know. Coco's really fun.
Well, I look at how Sequence and how Red do it, which is, well, more Red grows strictly with salts indoors, but when he goes outdoor, he changes his entire regime up. He's not putting
That's
Jackson
how
his
I'm
lawn.
planning on doing it here. I plan on using my soil outdoors here.
Dude,
That's
I
the
went
same
out.
thing I did last year.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I went out to my garden the other day, and this was just one season. I guess it technically 2 seasons. The season prior, I covered grass with like some landscaping fabric and some straw, and I was letting pumpkins and stuff kind of crawl out onto that. And then this past season, I turned that old space into kind of a grow space where I grew some cannabis, some sunflowers and stuff. Everything grew really well. But I covered it all in the fall with chopped leaf mulch, leaf litter, whatever else, kind of leaf debris, yard debris and stuff like that, sticks, all kinds of shit, you know. Snow melted. We got a good couple feet of snow just a couple weeks ago, and it all finally
Brings it all
melted down. Got a ton of nitrogen and all that from the snow. So I went out there, burned one with, you know, the garden, Mother Nature, kind of give some good vibes, and kind of just kick back some of the leaf mulch a little bit, see how I'm on clay, guys. I'm on all clay. Prior to setting anything, I when it dries out, it cracks. It just cracks everywhere. There's no pretty worms and stuff move around. It's not fluffy. You know, it doesn't look like somebody's nice fluffy garden bed. It's all clay. It looks like a desert, you know, without the grass. So I went out there today, pulled away some of the leaf mulch and stuff like that. And sure enough, man, I had about at least a quarter to a half inch of something workable. Like for me, that's fantastic. I love it. I'm great. I didn't even go down to that far. I probably could have gone down an inch and a half. I'm sure it might even be workable less than that. This is no tilling. I haven't done any kinds of tilling, nothing like that. What I've done is I've hit it with like a broad fork once a couple years ago. And then the only thing that I've been doing is just throwing down all of my leaves, you know, my sunflower heads, chop those up, toss those there. Everything's just scattered around and it's just all breaking down, decomposing.
And you're not showing any deficiency when you're flowering cannabis, and you're seeing good yield
I
on your
haven't seen
vegetables.
I've grown, I grew so far in the same plot 2 years in a row. Now here's where the real test comes into play. I'm going to be growing corn in the same, I didn't get a good successful corn crop, but I'm going to grow corn in the same place. I grew corn last year, following season, the same thing. I'm not going to switch up where I'm putting anything. I'm not going to do any crop rotations. I don't think it's necessary in permaculture. I think that the style of growing, the chop drop technique, you're getting enough minerals back down into the soil. And as long as I'm using other things that are digging deep, right? Letting some of the thistles get a little bit bigger. We all hate thistles. Yeah, but let them pull up some of those nutrients and then re-chop them up. Let them pull
Have you,
like deep ground nutrients, you know?
Have you thought about doing like a winter cover crop or anything like that for the early season, and then just mulching over the top of it?
I have. I'm curious how I'm going to do my planting, because I do such a thick layer of leaf mulch, and I'm almost wondering if I just need to stop doing the leaf mulch and only do the cover crop, because it's like, should I do one or the other, or is there a way to kind of do both? Is the leaf mulch going to smother out any of the seeds trying to grow, or will they germinate? Should I just toss them on top of the leaf mulch and they'll just germinate through?
My cover crop is always busted through any kind of leaf litter I had.
Mine's like,
yeah, but if this is going to be outside, you're going to want something
super thick,
at least on
litter,
top of it.
know?
I don't know how you feel about bark mulch or anything like that, but you can get it super cheap. You know, like a couple bucks a bag.
I'm trying to do this.
Or, you know, by the truckload is even cheaper.
I suppose I could source some. I am sourcing random. I'm sourcing like wood chips and stuff for my pathways. So like, you know,
and as long as you aren't digging the wood chips down into the soil, they shouldn't. Yeah. It shouldn't lock out any of the nitrogen, and you just keep layering it.
No, I'm actually hoping for more fungal,
really rich.
I'm hoping that they'll just provide more fungal than anything, and it'll all balance itself out, because I am providing so much just organic, man. I mean, there's just so much green. I cut my grass twice.
Well, yeah, if you got a heavy clay-based soil, you already have a lot of mineralization in there, right? You're just missing the organic matter.
Exactly.
You just need to pile that shit on.
Right, and that's really it. And that's why I'm not even using. I have tons of compost piles and I don't even use them, or I have compost bins and I don't really use them because I use up all of my growing space. I put all my like leaf litter and stuff in my growing space, and it fills it up before I can even get to the compost pile. So my compost ends up just being sourced, maybe some grass clippings and straw, just to add it in and mix it in with all the food waste. Really, it's all food waste at this point.
I'd take all that compost at the end of the year and cover all my garden spots and let that shit break down to the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep the food waste compost separate, because I'm really trying to keep critters and shit out of the actual garden space the best that I can. Little fuckers. You know me and all those, you know, the zoo that I have going on over here. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love my zoo. I love my
the Red Setter Farm.
Petting zoo. Yeah, it's bittersweet, man. Like all the animals, they do love my yard, but you know, got to pay the price somewhere. Got to keep them out somehow.
I don't know what your property's like, and it's none of my business. But do you have any like guinea fowls or anything like that? They're
No,
really
I'm
good.
actually really small. I'm on like only a third of it. Well, size doesn't really matter when you're talking about chickens and stuff, but like I'm not allowed to actually house
Yeah.
them in my neighborhood. It sucks.
Same.
I'm actually an association.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have that whole.
That
My
sucks.
my garden is probably 10 times the size as what I'm actually allowed to have.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, I have a large garden. I don't
It looks
care.
really nice
It's
though.
it's an association fee. They soft. I don't care about those guys. They
Red's got cool
yeah.
neighbors.
Yeah, I do actually have really cool neighbors. Neighbors on, no, not both sides of me, but basically all around me. I have neighbors that grow and neighbors that do patient work and stuff like that. I definitely have a consultant next door. They got traffic going by day and night. Yeah, it's a fun little neighborhood. That's lots of growers out here actually. And I'm well, I guess to put it more frank, I'm in Washtenaw County and they basically just decriminalized county-wide entheogenic plants. So kind of some of the stuff we'll get into on polarity science, but I won't go too far away. But yeah, man, it's a very, very, let's just say progressive area, Michigan.
I was looking for the video you put on your Instagram of your garden.
Garden
but it's
from last
not
year.
on there right now, but Red's got a really cool garden in his backyard, Stabby, and
it's in the city.
Follow him. I'd follow him. He puts it up on his story occasionally, but it's
You've
not
gone
in his
live from there.
highlights or anything right now. Yeah, it's really cool.
I'm pretty sure I follow every single one of you guys. I just fucking hate Instagram and I don't use it.
Whatever, dude. Real lives.
I go on Instagram to talk in the group chat.
What Stabby does is if I don't cover what he's
Same.
trying to tell me in the chat, he will DM me on Instagram and be like, "Hey, check it out here." All the backing up that.
Yeah, that
the
is
thing, too.
about 50% of my Instagram usage is
Right.
those messages that you occasionally get, like once every 6 months or so.
Every
Stabby,
time
you and,
Stabby messages me, gives me shit to do.
Yep.
Stabby and Spartan should go to lunch because Spartan hates everything from the fucking sea and Stabby hates everything social media.
I'm just a
Am I getting dragged
contrarian.
into this shit? I've been quiet.
Sure, yeah.
I bet they're both really
Not
fun at
saying-
parties.
They
I'm
are.
not saying a fucking thing, and I get dragged into this shit.
Like I'm just over here behaving, man. Just listening to my beard
Ironically,
grow.
Skilbo's whole
That's too
background
old.
is the ocean.
Clint
Yeah.
Eastwood's getting off their lawn together.
He's just trying to focus on not burning his beard over there.
He's doing a bang up job of it too.
Hey, I'm taking that as a compliment. You want to compare
Yeah.
me to Clint Eastwood? Fuck yeah, I will take that as a compliment.
Get off my lawn.
Hash time in 5 minutes.
I'm gonna be smoking this GG4, man. I've been eyeing this jar up the whole time we've been doing the show so far. I started off with Doc Dankenstein's early lemonberry, and then I smoked a little bit of the CBD, the Super Haze, and now I'm following up with this.
I don't want to keep monologuing, but I got to give Apothecary a shout out, man. I really do. These guys kind of killing it. Now, they're organic, and I'm gonna kind of say that I wish that they didn't have plastic containers because they are an organic company, but they are using the Calyx containers.
What's a
which are-
Calyx container?
It's almost an industry standard at this point. They've done a really great job with working on their sealing technology to make sure that the terpenes stay intact, make sure that the moisture stays intact.
Oh, nice.
So this is Apothecary. They're Ann Arbor based cultivation, vertically integrated. They do processing, they do growing, they do sales, point of sale. Awesome, excellent flavors, man. Honestly, they have probably some of the most sativas on. I would actually call real sativas. We get sativas in all the time, and they actually have the lime pine, like relax you down, like they don't like speed you up and all that stuff, like real deal sativas that are like in like the 20 upwards range. I've smoked them all. I mean, Jet Fuel, Jack Herrera, and Blue Nina specifically, which has like Blue Kush and probably like Blue Dream through the lineage of that one. And like they all just have like a really, really awesome uplifting effect. You almost like get that I'm about to blast off on psychedelics feeling, or that kind of tickles your cheeks right here, and really just kind of like lightens your day, brightens your day. If you're getting it while the sun's out in the evening time, it almost makes you just kind of get right back off the couch. But without like being overly speedy or anything like that. They're really smooth and relaxing. So anyways, I didn't want to go too long, but this is why I'm really turning more into a fan favorite, aside from just the sativa deal, man. They got the Calyx container, and they actually went with the Bovida deal with this.
Little tiny slim.
So every eighth, I got an
Kind of cool.
every eighth
I haven't
has
seen
a
that small.
Bovida in it. And so this stuff is Bovida 62, and I would say by the squish on this, it's in the it's 60-62% easily. It has a perfect bounce back. I don't know, I'll actually for you
Ready to
guys.
press.
No crisp on this at all. This is fresh out of a dispensary. And it's
Wow.
been sitting on my table for a couple of days. Nice little push. But yeah, man, shout out to Apothecary for that. They did a really nice job with this one. It can't be cheap at all working on all of this. I mean,
Oh, don't worry, you're paying for it.
oh, I know,
Right.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Someone
This
is.
is
Yeah, man.
actually we got a nice cool little promotion at work, but somebody's paying for it. That's for sure.
Hash time in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I was just saying I'm getting ready for hash time. It's an important time.
Actually, I had a question for Abolished because I picked up a tray this week. I was up near the city. How much hydroton is under your pots?
That will always come down to your ceiling height. You just got a regular, whatever, 7-foot ceiling.
Well, like if I have like a 6-inch Botanicare tray, right? Like a 6-inch deep tray. If I wanted to throw a bunch of like as many 3 or 5 gallon pots that I could fit in there, like how much hydroton would I want to put in the bottom for the wicking?
Love
Yeah.
that Gabby's gonna be butt chugging. I fucking love hearing this.
Right. It really would come down to how big you're going to let those plants get, because the more hydrogen you put in there and you sink those pots in, the more of those roots there are going to get to, go out and actually root out the wicking bed. So if you don't plan on having really big plants, you really don't need that much.
Okay. Because I used to grow in like 3x3 no-till beds, and then I dumped those out because I was planning on moving. Long story short, I've been running testers lately for Ross the Jeff in 3-gallon pots. Like he wants them run in 3-gallon pots untopped, just for testing purposes to see how they express and whatnot. So I'm tired of fucking watering these bitches every day, right? And I just want to throw them in a tray with some hydroton and
Hash time.
get some sip action going.
What kind of soil are you starting them with?
They're in living
Enthusiastic
soil.
soil.
So peat base.
Yeah, peat base with rice hulls and worms and worm castings and down to earth amendments.
Okay. So yeah, I would definitely recommend a little bit lower of a wicking bed, honestly, with the peat, because I've noticed if people that leave the peat ones saturated too much, they can run into deficiencies or maybe a lockout. I've always just preached the cocoa in the bill. It just makes things easier. If you're trying to do that, kind of just sit back and let the plants do their thing method.
My workaround for that is just
Just
to
increase aeration.
You can just put a layer of that those hydrogen in the bottom of your pots. That way they have a little breathing room there.
That's a really good suggestion.
That's what I usually do now anyway. What I was doing for a long time was when I got rid of the no-till beds, or when I had extra plants that needed to go into the flower room, I would just throw them in like a 10-gallon radical bag or a 5-gallon radical bag in a tray with hydroton on the bottom. But I got sick of the fucking hydroton spilling out of like the trays. Like I had like those big like 24-inch saucers, you know what I mean? Like the Austin planter saucers.
Mm-hmm.
And the hydroton was always spilling out, and I got sick of that. So I just started putting the hydroton in the bottom of the pot and then putting my soil on top of that. But these 3-gallon pots, they still just get, the plants have gotten so big with these blueberry cookie Jack the Ripper crosses in these 3-gallon pots that like I gotta water these fuckers every day. And
what do you think about them? You like them?
Yeah, I got one right now that's like a berry pheno, like a berry cherry. It's got some really nice terps on it. It doesn't have the best bud structure or anything out of all of them, but there's one that I don't know exactly what to call it or describe it as, but at about the fourth or fifth node, instead of having two lateral um, nodes at each spot, it had three. It had three branches at each node, starting at the like it didn't start out as a triploid or anything like that when it popped from the seed. It didn't get this trait until about the fourth or the fifth node. Just started getting extra branches, which hey, I'm totally cool with. More branches, more tops, right? Um, but since I left it untopped and untrained, like the main cola on this thing is just like a fucking baseball bat because it has this triple node the whole way up, right? All the way to the atypical meristem, right? Like all the way to the tip, it's triple noded. So it's just gotten fucking huge. And it's only like, I think they're week 6. I'm going to let them go. I don't know how many weeks I'm going to let them go. I'm going to let them go till they're done.
Keep me updated. I'd be interested to see because it sounds like you're plopping big girls right in there. And what there used to be top water before that.
Yeah, mostly top watered. That's the thing. Like they have a layer of rice hulls on top, but still.
That should just make the transition for them even easier. Honestly, they should be fine. I was worried a little bit with them being in the peat, but you got some big girls going in there. Should
Yeah,
be
the
a
roots
nice
are, yeah,
transition.
the
Oh
roots
yeah,
will
these
already
things
be
are like
above.
I flipped a couple of like there was only one that stayed relatively squat, and the other 4 females that I grew out, they all shot up like a look like a freaking menorah, with the giant main cola and then like the big they bushed out really really nicely, but they still have that giant freaking donkey dick in the middle.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's definitely an experiment when you throw them in there. Do I'd say fill it up at least halfway and see how your girls respond. If they show overwatering issues, just take it down and do quarter waterings and give yourself 4 to 5 days, in between instead of a week or more.
Because I mean, I'm probably gonna run some more testers right after these for someone else, and shit, I might as well. I got all the pots and everything, so.
So you're talking about a 4x4 is what you're working with? The
Well,
tray?
I just have them in my room, like
Okay.
they're just in the flower room in individual saucers, like 15-inch saucers or whatever.
Because I would say that it's the thinking would be how deep you go would be how much water you want to use. So I wouldn't say use like 3 inches of fucking hydrogen if you don't plan on flooding it that high to at least keep that top layer so that it's getting actual water, right? For the
Yeah,
hydrogen.
because if he's not planning to root that whole thing out right there, the hydrogen down there, its main purpose is just to block out light and to give a little bit of like holding structure for the roots at the very bottom that go out.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Dave has plants with the same mutation.
Yeah, it's this cross. I don't know if it's the Jack the Ripper. It has to be in the Jack the Ripper because he's used this blueberry for other crosses, and I haven't seen this mutation in it.
I believe Ian said that was trifoliate, is what that's called.
Well, sort of, but normally it would do that from the very beginning.
Yeah, like a triploid or a trifoliate or something like that. That's what I marked them as. Like I took some clones of them just because I was like, oh, this is unique. Let's see if it does it after it's been cloned.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you had cloned it.
And it's vigorous, right? Because it's
yeah, they are. So I had multiple trifoliates that I took clones of before they even sexed, and I've still got those in veg, and I've got them
Then,
just I don't even have them in the veg tent. I just have them like under a shop light, just slowly vegging because
when you took your clones,
space issues.
Did you take clones of the branches above or below the point where it was having the mutation.
I took them at the point of mutation because I cleaned up all the lower branches, right? Like I didn't top them, but I at least, you know, shaved their legs. I didn't leave them all ragged down there. So I believe the branches that I took off were above the 4th and 5th nodes. You know, it might have been like the 4th and 5th nodes that I took as clones.
Right.
I can't quite remember.
Dave in chat's saying that it's not trifoliate. It's called
World. Phyllotaxy.
I don't even want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked that up though. He said that that's what it was, and I looked that up, and it. I don't know if it's the same thing or not.
I don't know anything about it, so I don't want to input my opinion.
Right.
Same.
Yeah, I'm just over here high as fuck. That's what I'm doing over here.
Mission accomplished, Captain.
Yeah.
We had someone way up there. I missed who it was because it's been so long now, but they were talking about how their state is just about to turn over to medical, and they were interested in becoming a caregiver, and they were looking for some tips, I believe. You guys got any tips for somebody in a state that's up and coming?
Yeah, the question here in the chat.
Yeah,
I'm dying. Says my state is, fingers crossed, passing medicinal this year. Does any of the panel have a tip or suggestions for someone wanting to start caregiving? Do you grow specific plants for specific patients? Which is kind of ironic because we talked about this in our chat today on Instagram. You know, growing specific plants for specific patients.
I must have missed a good conversation, actually. I tried to do that for life. You hear slurping or slopping, my dog's right next to me drinking his gallon of water.
Get a DOG.
That's what I figured was happening.
Get it.
Red's got a new Tinder date under the table.
Wow.
Wow.
You broke him
You
up
actually
on that
broke.
one.
You actually broke Red on
I'm
that.
broken, dude.
I try to grow plants for my patients. Going back to that, while Red reclaims.
Well, the thing is that
Great transition.
his slurping is so much louder on my end than yours, so it's just probably a different perspective. But anyway. All right, guys, derailing. What the hell were we talking about?
Damn, you
guys
just
totally derailed.
she
Growing
shook.
plants.
He's
Growing
shook.
plants for patients, bro.
Now Red's gonna get distracted
missed a
every
good
time
time.
his
I must have
dog
missed a
drinks
good
water.
All right, so this is my
Classical
advice.
conditioning.
Okay, that's how I started this thing. This is how I started getting into growing, was for being a caregiver, and I miss it. But anyhow, I won't be bitter about it. So what I would do is I would have if I had what I would call a potential patient, I would sit down and usually went to their house or whatever they're most comfortable with. Either meet at my house or I'll go to theirs, and I'd sit down and I'd just answer every fucking question they had. And I would have questions for them, like, what ailment do you have? How does it affect you? You know, are you on any medications?
Why do you have a card?
Things you need to know, because for one, you have to make that in the state, for the protection to even protect you, you have to have that caregiver-patient relationship. So if they were to, stick you on the stand, you'd be able to at least say, yes, I know this person, I recognize them, and this is their ailment and this is what I prescribe to them. So make that initial effort at the very least. Every patient that I had, I knew every one of them, and they knew me, so it was kind of maybe more than the average caregiver relationship. But every person that I talked to was a different deal, we'll say, a different deal. But what I did was I tailored it towards whatever ailment they had and their tolerance level and everything like that. And I mean, in Michigan, I'll just throw a real common round numbers out there. It's really common for patients to get like at least an ounce a month from their caregiver, and given, like, no fee involved. And then there's all kinds of things above and beyond that. It's common for caregivers to pay fees when it comes to licensing, things like that. But really, my real advice would be to know to get a patient. Make sure you have a patient first, because if you don't, what's the point of growing the cannabis if you don't have anywhere for it to go? So get your patients, start there, and learn them, see what they need, and then pick your strain selections. If you don't have strains already, pick your strain selections and tailor them to their needs. If you know that one of them has insomnia, and they're
Dr. Mike over. That's one of the most beautiful and rewarding things about this caregiving, isn't it? Like when you're actually sitting down with somebody and you're developing that doctor-patient relationship, and you're figuring out their ailments, and then what strains work for that ailments through them either going to the dispensary, you growing multiple strains, and then taking those strains and either extract them in different forms of edible, smoke, and trying to knock out those conditions. And when you finally do, it is so damn rewarding. It makes all that hard work worth it, knowing that you save somebody's life or you make your life better every day.
That's what makes
Especially
it
if
all
it's the first time that's ever happened, where you were the first time you ever grew the strain that like really checked all the boxes for them. They're like, wow, this is truly a miracle or whatever. This is the one for me.
That was
I have a-
mandated purple for that one. Go ahead, Painted Lady.
Yeah, I have a veteran like that right now that's loving my lemon Jeffrey. He says the only thing that's helped is PTSD. And even going beyond that is what Abolish was saying, that's been fun for me, is trying to find strains that I can grow that cover a multiple all the multiple symptoms that my patients are having, instead of just like, this patient will need blueberry muffin to go to sleep.
Pretty
Or this
sure
part,
that lemon Jeffrey has the same lime profile. Maybe not. I don't know about yours specifically, but I smelled another lemon Jeffrey that had a real lime. It was real similar to the Citrique. And
Was
that
it?
one that one for me is like that's my go-to. Like I have it in flower right now. I'm super excited to harvest.
How do you guys
One
feel
of my
about
favorites.
if I am a patient of yours and you guys are my caregiver? I like to think of it as like a partnership where you and I are supposed to sit down and I can say, hey, I really do like this, or hey, I bought this pack of seeds. How do you feel about growing this out? And we can try it for me, you know what I mean? And we can figure it out from there. But there's just so much more to it than that. You know what I mean?
DC has a good follow-up question that's relevant to that. It says, thanks for answering my question. How do you research strains that help specific ailments?
Check several sites, but realize that they're all cheating and you're all repeating the same shit from one site.
Terpenes, the strain.
I'm going to give you a fast forward that I wish I had somebody had told me when I started, because I used to do that. I used to research, okay, what strain is good for whatever disease, blah, blah, blah. But you'll soon learn that everybody's body chemistry is different. It doesn't fucking matter what, worked for one person really well. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for
every seed is different.
Yeah. So what I did was I just got the seeds that I had available to me to get, and I grew them out. So I had my system was I would have, I think it was at the time 3 or 4 strains that I would keep, but I would always throw in a new strain, and if it was better, then it would replace one. So I would, when I mean what if it was better, is I would ask the patients. And every time there was another deal that I had with them, is that anytime I grew something new, they got free samples of that. They got to try the new strain. I'm not gonna, when I ask them, hey, what strain do you want for an ounce? I'm not gonna, something they haven't tried. That's not fair. So I make sure that they were able to try everything too, but that they were to give me feedback, like, oh, that's really good or not good. Even if they didn't give me feedback when they had it available and I didn't pick it, that was feedback, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I would make that selection and then move on to the next one. And so really it's just going to be the fun part in my eyes, is that's growing new strains and then having them try it and getting that feedback back. It's one of my favorite things to do, really. Like right now with this Velvet Punch, I don't know how much of it I've given away, but I'm trying to make the rounds and get some to everybody and get everybody's feedback, because everybody's body chemistry is different, and it helps me with pheno selection.
Always fun, especially when you really like it, and then you give it to somebody and they don't like it, and you're like, man, what is the difference between what I like and what you like, or what whatever. Some people really don't like sativa strains or really don't like fruity strains. It's very
Each
interesting.
crescendo is about the only one that I found that all my patients like. It goes kind of across the board. So that's when I kind of can't try to keep around for sure.
See, I think one thing about crescendo, we can use this as an example, is I've had 3 different people's crescendo, and all 3 of them are distinctive. You know what I'm saying? So this goes back to Spartan was saying that not everybody, it doesn't hit the same for everybody. You know what I mean? For medicine, you have to realize that we're talking about genetics. So this shit is not the most representatively stable of things that it could be. So as you have wild variants, you can't just say that X is great for Y. Even though I just did it in the chat and I'm guilty of it all the fucking time, it doesn't matter. It's you still, as a patient and as a caregiver, need to understand that there is variance to this. And I think that what Spartan is saying about being able to let them sample it and to get feedback on it is what you're going to want. Because otherwise, I have a buddy who has a card and a friend that's a caregiver, and he grows MAC1 specifically for this one patient. Even though the grower hates growing it, it's what his patient is, his friend, like our friend. But you know what I mean? He grows that pain in the ass plant just for him. Because the caregiver doesn't like to smoke it. He's got
Well, I
other things
imagine
he
if any
prefers.
patient could ask for what plant they wanted, they'd pick MAC1.
Yeah, a lot of times this happens also. Maybe you said this, I don't know, I got distracted for a second. That the patient will smoke something, it'll work for them, and then they can't find it anymore, and then they'll source a new caregiver, and then they'll ask them for that specifically because it worked for them. And then you'll be like, well, then that's where all of this information comes into play, because you have to pretty much have that conversation. Unless I have that exact cut, that exact genetic profile, even if I run a seed or something, it's not going to work. So you have to have that conversation, say, let's try something in the profile range. Do you know what kind of flavors you had? Like, what did it smell like? Maybe you can get some sort of a terpene profile out of it, and then search for that kind of a cannabinoid terpene profile somewhere. You know, I mean, it seems like there's an infinite a number of possibilities. But
me too, Red.
But I still feel like there's a very limited number of possibilities out there, and that we're all just really hybridizing the same shit over and over and over again through all of these different names. Like, there's an overwhelming number of varieties of genetics out there, but it's all the same shit over and over and over and over again through, I mean, dominating terpenes. You know, I mean, really all it is.
It's kind of like back in school when, you know, they had lockers. If you're like middle school or something, there were only so many combinations. So you would, as a kid, you would try your combination on other lockers to see if it worked. Like, oh shit, okay, well, there we go. It's kind of like that. You have to have the right patient who has the right ailment. And then we can also be real weed snobs about it and say, well, you know, if you would have pulled that at X date instead of Y, the profile would have been completely different and maybe could have really helped the patient or really, you know, set them back too. So again, the variables are rarely overstated.
Let's give them one more tip that'll really up the game. Is I'm sure you're on Instagram, and I'm sure you notice other people that are in your state. You can start forming up groups of caregivers and stuff like that. Doesn't even necessarily have to be anything formal. I mean, like in our state, we can meet up and share a smoke together. Stuff like that. You can gather a lot of data for your patients by doing that, by working together with other people.
Remember, as rec, you can swap up to where's my legal beagles out there? What's the amount that I can trade with somebody?
2.5 ounces.
Thank you. So it's nothing for me to trade, you know, 2 grams of this for 2 grams of that and try to be like, okay, well, let's see what happens. Because if you're a caregiver and they're a caregiver, you may have something that unlocks a whole other patient, which could be really rad.
If you're both caregivers, you could actually purchase from each other for your patients.
Okay, so I didn't know that either.
Yeah, caregivers can do that. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, man. If there are any other questions in the chat, make sure you guys drop them for us.
That was an old law, right? Doesn't it talk about like a grandfathered in or something? That old caregiver relationship deal. They were hoping.
Yeah, and the caregiver could actually go to a what is it? It would be legal for a caregiver to buy from a traditional market grower, but it would be illegal for the traditional market grower, obviously, to
sell it without them middlemen again. Yeah.
So if that transaction went down and a police officer would see it, they would arrest the grower, and the caregiver would be fine.
Remember back when they used to talk about safe exchange points and shit like that? That was like a big deal, man.
Yeah, I do all my exchanges at police stations.
The thought process behind it all was that
Safer that way.
some patients
Yeah,
physically can't grow. They physically couldn't grow, their medicine.
Yeah, because
So,
there is.
and if a caregiver ran into a situation where they had a failed crop or something, they would have to have an avenue to get medicine. And this was before the dispensaries and everything were allowed. So that's why that was written into there.
Yeah, and just like in case somebody's kind of battling somebody that has this, oh, all pot's the same, all marijuana, they're still using that kind of terminology and stuff like that because they really don't know. They're uneducated. This is a non-anecdotal story. This is real. This is why I hold Granddaddy Purple. I had a patient that had I tell the story often, so I'm sure just repeating myself, but he had a something going on with his eyes where they were he had muscle spasms in his eyes. They would spasm so
Ocular
bad.
pressure.
Yeah, something just really, really rough, man, all day long. And he would only smoke like good purple, would kind of relieve it here and there. He was searching out for purple kush because he had seen that it was a heavy indica. He tried some sativas. Some sativas would make it worse. Hybrid sativas would make it worse. A couple good indicas would kind of help here and there, but he was looking through basically Leafly and stuff and looking up the name indica. What would help? Well, I'm talking away from this thing. I think that's why I'm looking at you guys, and I need to like.
Yeah, you're doing much better like that.
This is probably.
At least you didn't get yelled at in the chat this time.
No, I'm about to get yelled at. I'm about to get.
Brad, we've done 200 shows.
I need to.
Brad, we've done 200 shows.
I moved the microphone. Now I can look at you guys. I got the microphone in front of me. Now we're all good. I moved my whole. Obviously, I'm not behind the text, but let me go talk behind the microphone, anyways. So yeah, to relieve the spasms that he couldn't drive, so I found a source granddaddy. This is before I was even growing. Source granddaddy, and it worked for him. Like he was able to make it all the way like to his cabin up north, no problem. So that was like, all right, that's it. We got to work with that one. So when they didn't have granddaddy available, it was kind of an issue. I had to source the best indica that they could have. You know what I mean?
It's a lot of bucket weight.
But then they would eventually have granddaddy come back around, be able to source it again. He'd do great. I eventually was able to source the clone and same genetic line, and he was thrilled, man. And I eventually set him off with that clone. He was able to get that clone from me and grow it now himself. I'm not sure if he still has it or if he still grows it, but I know that it helped him for a really, really long time. So that's one of those things that like and someone's saying in chat, anthocyanethins help a lot. And yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking had to do with a lot of it. He would smoke it. I'm not sure what the reactions are with it smoking, but man, the granddaddy's got a very awesome effect, and it is super purple, super berry, and super like unleaded gasolines type of a smell. It really kind of has a blend like that in it, and it really does something. It's not even that potent in the THC range, but I mean,
it's medicine.
like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, put it right up there on that same top shelf. It does have some large stem action going on it, but otherwise it grows nice. I have some early flower right now. But yeah, man, that was the one that worked. Cleared up his spasms. The best. I mean, yeah, the other stuff just wouldn't work to the point where he couldn't drive. You know what I mean? It would make it worse. So there's definitely a big difference.
Well, I keep thinking of what I'm going to do with whether I'm going to grow out the green room crosses with either the Great Ape or the Granddaddy. But since I suffer from extremely high pressure from it's like pigmentation of the iris, it's where it's leaking in, so it causes really, really high pressure in my eyes. We've been eyes like high as 21 and shit. So I really need to get back on that. So
what do you smoke that makes your body disappear?
What do I smoke that makes my body disappear? God, bud.
Oh,
Sorry. I just quick.
It's whatever you're smoking on now.
It's whatever you're smoking on now, genius.
In the sunset over there.
Yeah, man. This is my subliminal reminder for people to make sure that they have notifications turned on for the Wake and Bake when it comes back on the next Saturday or so.
Every other Saturday. Every other Saturday.
So 13 days from today. Turn on noties.
Bring some donuts.
Noties.
I want to plug something.
That was a fun show.
Yeah.
Wake and bake is always fun. A shout out to Terry Wilson and Dankman Dan as well.
That's right. What did you
I-
want to plug, Red?
Well, I guess I gotta plug this book, Sunrise Grow. Just mentioned it in chat, so I have to mention. I mean, of course, if you're trying to be a caregiver, I highly suggest you at least get the audio book. But if you are a reader, definitely get the book so you have a reference. I mean, I actually like the book as a reference. I've been going back like to the same page very, very many times. And it works out really well that way. You can bust out a highlighter and really get the stuff going. The cannabis. I'm gonna stutter my way through this. Hold on. Let me linguistically help myself here. The Cannabis Pharmacy. There we go. And it's by, I think, Michael Beck's is his name. The
Yeah, we have
Cannabis
the same
Pharmacy.
one.
Easy enough. And yeah, it's got a picture of a cannabis leaf on it. If you look up close enough, it looks like it might have some thrip damage to that cannabis leaf. But
it's not an older book. It's a relatively newer book, so it's
and
got
they
more
revise
of
it. And
Yeah.
they also reference Dr. Ethan Russo. And what else can I say about this book? Well, they not only go through cannabis history, cannabis terpenes. They talk about the entourage effect, stuff like that. They talk about all different types of hash, all different types of consumption methods, basically. I mean, dosing is huge. They talk about dosing, what the human threshold is. Like, I mean, if you want to learn something about cannabis, get this book. It'll tell you literally everything that has to do with like human interaction in cannabis. Like, it's really a great thing. It even goes into like, yeah, we're subjective to every strain individually as individuals, but aromatherapy, it has there's a commonality in aromatherapy, and you can at least get in a ballpark with aromatherapy and the synergy of aromatherapy, which is all the terpenes and the cannabinoids, is the effects, through science. That's where we're at. So you can figure out in a way what side of the spectrum you kind of want to be on, what kind of flavors and things like that. Strain doesn't matter. It's all in this spectrum, and the combination of the spectrum that's going to help. So and it's all incredibly subjective, like we're talking about. But those terms, sativa and indica, they really don't mean that much because of that reason. But this book goes through all that stuff, and it even goes through why those terms really don't even mean that much. It all just has to do with like how they were cultivated, who grew them, stuff like that. Talks about how those terpenes exist all around the world. All just has to do with defense mechanisms of the plant, where it was when the certain pest pressure and disease pressure existed, and they needed certain smells and whatever to exist through that pressure.
I was thinking today that I wanted to do a dab video outside, but it was too cold. It would fuck with everything. So I can't wait until summer when I can actually get outside and get all the smells and, take in all the joys of being outside and also smoke out there.
Dude, I rolled one up today
Yes.
at the other house and was standing in the driveway over there just listening to all the bird songs and shit that are coming back.
Yeah, man.
And man, it was fantastic.
You can definitely do that.
Yeah, man.
It's not so bad when you stand in the sun.
Oh, it was nice and sunny today.
Yeah, just about every day that the sun's been out, I've already tossed my hammock outside. Some of these mornings I've been outside getting my wake and bake on.
So you call it now?
Nippy.
You call it tossing your hammock?
Tossing my hammock. Jumping my hammock.
Hey, brunch outside. It was awesome. Just had one of those heaters. Those what do they call those big metal heater things?
Look
Those
like
propane
Everett's.
ones? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're just those big propane heaters. And
Dude,
yeah.
Shredder's saying it's supposed to be in the 60s the next 2 days. Hell yeah. Cheers, Shredder.
yeah, tomorrow.
Oh,
I'm actually
I'm gonna
working
get
outside
my
today.
hammock out.
Telling you, man. It's our new trend. I'll be out there tomorrow. That's for sure.
Well, make
Gotta
sure you
write
take a
the
mummy
weather.
bag with you just in case the weather turns quickly on you. Backyard Unlimited is reminding us that morals are soon.
That's true.
Yeah.
Very soon, especially in Lower Michigan. What do we got? Probably May, right? Beginning of May, and then end of May in Northern Michigan, roughly like that. Coming up, a few weeks.
I feel like we're halfway through March, even though we're not, but Positive
We're-
vibes, man.
We're
Looking
just
forward.
about half. I mean, we're a quarter of the way through March.
Half sounds better.
Yeah, that's. I guess. Say that March is half full.
We still haven't hit the Ides of March yet, though. Beware the Ides, folks. The Et tu, Brute.
Baby, come back.
You can blame it all on me.
Careful, careful. We just went over this YouTube rules.
What are you trimming over there, Banks?
This is just a crescendo version 2 from Ethos. My roommate who let me stay at her house when I moved up here, she picked them out and started them, and I finished them when I got up here. But it's just some worm castings and mixed in with some peat moss. But yeah, they came out really good. So shout out to Nurse Geek. She picked a good one because they're grapey, and I love grape.
Yeah, it's really grapey.
Yeah,
which is pretty surprising.
Yeah, but it's the version 2, which they kind of threw something different in, right? I can't remember the packaging, but I know we talked about it. It was something they mixed in instead of just straight crescendo to crescendo. So, but I'm pleased with it. It's frosty. The nugs are dense. I mean, we had to move this stuff like 2 hours, so for it to be sitting in totes for that long and come out this good, I'm pretty happy. So I was smoking a
really wanna
joint
try that
earlier in the
one.
show, and it got me pretty ripped. So
It's really frosty.
yeah.
I mean, it's a cookies cross, so it's got like a floor, right? A pretty high floor of THC. It's going to be
Yeah.
around the 18, 20% no matter what.
I got
Yeah.
some member berry that I've been meaning to
Ooh.
get to for like forever.
I just like the name of that.
Yeah.
That's from.
But I've
South
seen
Park.
good results with it.
Yeah, I was wondering
don't
who
get
that
me
is,
wrong.
Spartan.
That's from South Park, and that's at Ethos, isn't it?
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
been
it's
looking for
Ethos.
member
That's
berry.
Ethos.
But it's a South Park episode about like rehashing everything coming up for Star Wars and
Pepperidge
stuff.
Farm, remember?
Remember? Yeah. It's should be good stuff. I forget the lineage on that one, but I remember kind of being interested in it.
I was there at the Indo Expo talking to Colin and stuff, and I couldn't decide, but after talking to him, I ended up picking the member berry
Nice.
because
I'm excited about my
I was gonna
punch
buy
berry
some
cookies I got
crescendo.
going.
There's so much of that.
What were you saying, Painted Lady?
I'm excited for my punchberry cookies that I have going right now from Ethos.
Is that across from Memberberry? Is that in the lineage of it?
Oh God, now you're gonna put me on the spot. I'm such a
I'm just curious. You don't have to look.
I'm so dumb when it comes to that. I can't even remember, but I think it might be Sequence. Help me out. Help a
Well,
lady out.
Well,
I'm
member
looking it
berry
up.
is
Dying.
member berry is skunk berry and mandarin sunset.
Punchberry cookies is mandarin cookies and purple punch crossed with cherry sherbet.
Oh, so it's not anything like
Okay. Yeah. Well, no, I don't think I have just memberberry of anything.
I got some of this 2020 snow cane from my friend Spartan Grown this week.
Oh,
Oh,
Well,
dude. Oh, the sour garlic cookies, though.
Isn't the
man.
mandarin sunset in the mandarin cookies?
Yes.
Member
Well, that-
berry is skunk berry crossed with mandarin sunset.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier.
kind of similar then.
Did you know anybody that grew out the Ethos was fucking around with a skunk for a while? Like
Which
couple
skunk
years
is the
ago.
I
question?
think he was calling it like Grandpa's skunk or something.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of, Sequence.
Okay.
And it was Grandpa's skunk, wasn't that from Duke Diamond? That sounds like when he had
I
Granny.
He had a
have-
granny one. Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
Granny skunk from Duke Diamond in my drawer right here.
That's
I
what
grew
I
up
thought it
Grandpa's
was. Right?
stash.
Oh.
I have Grandpa's stash from Ethos.
Yeah,
that I
Grandpa
grew up.
stash.
I have a roadkill skunk by Ethos. That was a freebie.
That was the other one.
Dude, that's the
That's-
one, man.
that's
Dude, you gotta
a,
pop that.
Yeah,
I know.
serious. That's the one, Red.
That's a big.
You got the hash guy
that's a
speaking
big
up for it
claim.
right there, so that's a good thing, yeah.
I've been waiting for the I've been waiting for the. So yeah. So basically,
the
I've
It's
sun.
like the
Red's probably
Holy
right, waiting
Grail.
for a moon cycle or something.
I've been
If it smells like a dead skunk.
kind of doing that for my list. So I've been waiting for like my bedroom and everything to really get finished up. That way I can get it all under good lighting and everything. I don't want to like waste mom's. But being that I'm now basically working full time and stuff like that, I'm not exactly at the grow full time as much as I'd like to. I think I'm going to end up doing popping seeds and stuff back here at the house and just eventually taking cuts
Cycle 'em
out
out
there
there.
and cycle them out there. Yeah. So even though I'm not going to hold moms and all that good stuff here, I think I'm going to do like the delicate work, like popping seeds and things like that here. And then just maybe holding like keeping like a small tent or a bedroom or something like that.
Keep a rainbow saved up, backed up.
Yeah, keep a couple good keepers backed up. Exactly. Keep a couple little plants and stuff like that. Just the main ones, right? And then keep like the rest of the stock out there. But yeah, definitely like the rainbow, the flow, the granddaddy, a couple good ones, like have dual locations, like that. So, and I mean, shit, even if I did lose the rainbow or something, you have it. So I mean, it's not really that big of a deal.
I have
Still-
proven myself worthy. I think Spartan Grown will attest to my holding the GG4 and giving it back unscathed to him.
I've got actually. I took that one and grew it up and chopped it into two, so now I got two little
Perfect.
clones of it. Yeah.
I got to give Big Jar a shout out too, because he's been keeping me updated on that Death Star. He's got a cut of the Death Star, which is actually finally looking fresh, dude.
He said he was smoking it today. He was smoking some hash.
Yeah,
I actually seen that when it was flowering. Yeah, man. I over in his setup.
I have
Oh shit.
I have some that line the bottom layer of a tote, and I really should grab myself a nug or two out and burn that and smoke it, man. I make myself
Got
nice
a
little smoke out of it.
my own cut of Death Star, which we believe is the same, and along
think
with all the
it's-
rest of the ones that I cloned, they're all like 18 inches tall now. So I'm gonna have to put them in like 1 gallons, and then I'm gonna be ready to move into the new house.
It might even be the same cut that Apothecary's pushing too.
It might
That's
be,
one of the
dude.
strains they run.
I always like to pretend or imagine, that I've got the famous one.
Me too.
You're a golden ticket kind of guy.
We definitely do. Well, the one they push, man, is an indica. Well, they claim it to be an indica, and everybody this is power suggestion is crazy because I haven't known one way or the other what this is. I know what the cross is. It's Sensi Star and Sour Diesel, solid, probably hybrid. But I've smoked it, and it's always been my go-to daytime. It's always been like it. I mean, yeah, it doesn't keep me up at
Right.
night. It doesn't speed my heart rate up or anything like that. It's a solid sativa for me. It's nice. It's focused. It's clear. It's uplifting. It's a mood enhancer. It's great. It doesn't make me go duh or anything like that. It's a great strain. Gets me high as shit. Death Star is awesome. And everybody's like, oh, it's totally an indica, But when I smoked it, I burned one and I was like, I felt it in my cheeks and I felt it in my head. And I was like, oh man, this is pretty sativa to me. This is a lot similar to I felt in the flavor. It was the same one that I had. I could taste it. I was like, this is the same cut I have. Later on, I was like, I got a little stony and stuff. But also, I mean, like, this is rec cannabis. I mean, the stuff was like harvested 2 months ago, maybe longer. You know what I mean? It's a pre-roll, could be shake. I mean, who knows? Well, it's probably not shake, but I mean, it could be B grade for sure. Whatever.
There's some volatility issues there, I'm sure.
Yeah, no doubt. So I mean, like, I think that I still think it's sativa. You know what I mean? I would probably still declare it as like indica hybrid or something to a guest taking it if it's a few months old or something like that. But like everything,
Is theirs really gassy?
It's really gassy. Yeah, it's got that
Yeah.
same like pine gas to it. Yep. And like everything goes indica hybrid once it's like 6-8 months old anyways. You know what I mean? Once the THC starts to convert CBN and all that stuff, like you take the greatest sativa out there and you're gonna be sleepy. You know what I mean?
But isn't this more modern style of storage basically postponing that date further and further
I would
before it
hope
starts
so.
to break down?
Yeah, especially with the Bovida bags. I mean, yeah. I mean, I would imagine they're going this route. I would imagine it probably sits maybe bulk while it's getting tested. I'm not sure how they're doing with their facility. I would love to get a tour at Apothecary. I know we do a lot of good work with them, so maybe I will get a chance to get a tour at Apothecary one day.
Talk it into existence, brother.
I'm totally gonna get a chance to go there and check it out.
Sequence looks like he's wearing a bud costume over there, doesn't it? You know, like the tax guy
I don't
out
know
there.
what
on
you
the
guys
thing.
are. You guys are definitely wearing something.
Marbles.
You must have planned. I think you guys planned it.
Dude, we never do,
Suspiciously.
man. It's just
We weren't
Kinda
planning it. And I
suspiciously.
was thinking about putting on a sweater, but
Been doing this for 2 years, and you can't
oh, here it comes, coming back at me.
teach yourself to not wear a green shirt on camera.
Dude, I am a green shirt wearing motherfucker.
You don't like my
It's okay.
floating head, Red?
No, I actually do. I really want
I'll
you to
put a
smile.
sweater on.
I want you to smile ear to ear, so you can look like a Cheshire cat.
Yeah, you like the weed version of Cheshire Cat.
Yeah, I want you to smile, especially Sequence, because it's got all that beautiful floral wonderland.
You know what I feel like? I
Like
feel like
it's a
that Shiba
wonderland back
Inu, that Shiba Inu meme where there's like the cloud and it's got the dog's face in it. That's what I feel like.
Skillbo, you look
I don't
very
see any clouds
mystical.
over there,
You're very
though.
mystical over there too. You actually look like you're like the only cloud in the sky.
With that
Big
red
ass
thing on
fucking-
top.
What a compliment.
We
Big ass moon head.
blow smoke out. It's
You're the only
thing.
cloud in the sky, Scobo.
Yeah.
Wah, wah. Oh shit, man!
Yeah.
This fucking show flies
You're
by.
getting shined on, man. You're getting shined on. You're getting brightened up. Think of it as a positive compliment.
I
Think of it as a
heard-
compliment.
You're gonna let him make fun of your
TNT Bud
alopecia.
sticker in the chat mentioned IC Bud did an upgrade on their website. I heard that. I haven't looked at that yet, but any of the OG growers know what IC Mag is and their forum. So yeah, if you used to check that out, maybe give it a look again. That's where a lot of the OGs,
That's where we're getting a lot of bad information, bro science from.
Chem Dog,
Yeah, I was about to say,
all
bro
that
science
stuff.
is brewed in all them
Oh
forms.
yeah.
Icy Mac rolled up.
Yeah, roll it up, man.
Grass City, if you want to go there.
Grass
that was
City.
another
No, that
one.
was more. They were always trying to get you to buy their glass and shit. Oh, here, spend this.
No, they had a forum though. It's
Yeah,
just
they had a forum, too.
trash. But in my opinion, Breed Bay. That's where I talked to a lot of people over in Europe. That was a cool one though.
No, I never fucked with that one.
Yeah, breedbay.org.
I want to shout out Easy Swap Pots for this sweet ass shirt. You guys see this fucking thing? Oh, it's gonna be.
Haven't got mine.
Those are
Sweet.
pretty
Yeah, I
dope.
haven't gotten mine yet.
Fucking nice.
He's on that A listing. I guess we're on the C listing sequence.
Dude, you have any idea how popular Spartan is?
You gotta light your
Indeed,
beards
I
on
do.
fire.
He's so strong from beating chicks off all day long.
So strong. Just on one arm too, right? The other one's holding the joint.
No, that's from.
There you
Sound
go.
good at all, but I'm not free
Get
I
right
figured you were
Straighten
talking
him
about
out,
beating
painted lady.
somebody else off. I didn't even hear what Painted Lady said. I missed it.
I just said it didn't sound good at all.
That's fine.
So I'm excited
He
about
says that's fine. Let it pass the
That's
test.
fine.
Mole Vision wants to know if I can tell if a seed is male or female. I keep hearing you can. I'm not so bought on the theory. I completely disagree with the theory. I do not think that you can tell just by your own naked eye. I don't think that you can tell.
It's bullshit.
Say what?
Thank you. You can't determine
you
the sex
tell
of a
the seed,
plant by
male
the
or female.
seed. Yeah,
No.
that's the
I'm
old
looking
pro
at it
sciencey
like-
thing.
Yeah, no.
That's funny. That I was talking to with some coworkers today. Weren't you guys were just talking about a topic that came up? It was talking about in chat. Well, that is a topic that came up that I was talking to a coworker today about in my lunchroom. About
Oh man, it's the bigger seed. It's got to be the male.
yeah, it was something like that. It was
Can you
like
just play it
was
like the
darker.
Spice Girls and whatever
And I
seeds
was-
get down with it, or the
If you spin
females?
it with her shins and see what it does, then alakazam.
And I had to let them know that that is all misinformation. Sorry
You can
for
get
not-
those the testing
my
done
table.
now, like
Yeah,
you can
if
get-
you pop it.
the seedling leaf
Yes.
tested. Yeah. I've never done that, but been
I think
tempted
viable.
to.
No, but
I
I'm
like,
saying that you can't test. You can get a test done, but I'm saying naked eye just by looking at two seeds.
Oh. But
Well,
I
You
well,
got a
have
think about
50%
how
chance of
common-
being right.
Think about how common that
Yeah.
information is. Like I'm just having a casual conversation with a couple people, and it seemed like everybody in the room was like, yeah, it's like, isn't it like a smaller seed? Isn't it like a darker? Everybody like had a.
Oh yeah, the
had their
tiger
own-
stripey ones are the good
ones
ones,
with the
man.
dents in them, the ones
And-
that are pointier.
Yeah, and it's then the real information comes out. And it's like, well, everybody kind of suspected, was shocked. They're like, whoa, we all have like a different. They all think that there's this way that you can tell. They all think that it's a different way that you can tell, but the reality is you can't tell. I mean, that's all I have to say about that. It just wasn't really anything. It's just like the correspondence of the information, the perspective of the information. You know, everybody has a different outlook on it, and it's actually the misinformation.
Well, since we're talking about that, I'll bring up something from the other show. And of course, I have a green screen on, so you can't see this. But what I did is I just took a cutting off of the plant, and can you see the mild, tiny bit of roots in here? All I did was just put straight water in here, and it was not to root the plant. It was simply for me to get it to express. Oh fuck, it's not gonna work. But anyway, it's so that
Plant's
I can
too
figure
healthy,
out.
bro.
I know it's still, but it's starting to yellow out and shit like that. But yeah, man, look at you. What'd you put in there?
Dude, these have been in here for like a month. There's
I-
just a little bit of water in the bottom of this jar. You can see it swirling around.
Hey, roots
What are
hate the
those?
light, Skilbo, or
couple rainbow drivers. I just tossed them on my.
look how
my
much
kitchen
they hate the
table.
light. Dude.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that like
They're
certain plants are about that more than others?
All rooted out. I need to get them a little bit of water, but they're yellowing. I need to give them a little feed. Probably put a little bit of Jack's in this jar. No air stone, nothing. They'll probably start growing. I've just kept them on my kitchen table. Actually, I keep them under my I keep them on my end table underneath my lamp. You know, little shadow, just a regular desk lamp.
See,
desk
I got 3 of the rainbows
awesome.
that I just potted up, and I have 3 of the Primal Punch F1s that I just potted up too. I'm really, really happy with how both of those are turning out on this first run in my garden with them. So definitely want to make sure that I can keep those in rotation and see how much better I can get with them.
But that's how easy it is to clone. No
Oh, yeah.
special techniques, nothing. Kitchen.
I used to
table.
overcomplicate the shit out of it, man.
Yeah.
Always
A
deal with
ball jar.
dampening off. and
That's
stuff
what
like
we
that.
want to show is like how simple it is and to not overcomplicate it.
And now
really.
this wasn't a 5-day process. Like I can get an arrow. I mean, I can get clones. Arrow,
But it won't die.
5 days. But yeah, exactly. It's not going to die. It's not going to go anywhere as long as you cut it right. You keep the water in the jar, right? And you keep it hydrated. And
Eventually, if you wanted to do it, you could, or if you wanted to just keep it like this, and then, when you can get a chance to take a cut further back on it so that you expose a fresh part of it, stick that in your rooting hormone and giddy up. You're off to the races with it.
you can do that too, because sometimes it just callous. It ends up like what's the term for it where it starts to like mold out? What is
Dampening
that?
off.
And dampening off, I think. But there's a certain type of bacteria that it gets where it's that cloning bacteria. What the hell's that shit called?
Pythium.
Pythium. Yeah, it gets pythium, and then the roots and then the stems start to dampen off. So that I mean, that didn't happen here in this scenario. Actually, these roots are all like nicely colored. As a matter of fact, there's a little bit of like shit and stuff that's falling off.
Yeah, but the leaves don't
brown
look bad.
brown roots are bad. White ones are good.
These ones all look great. I mean, I do need to put. I mean, usually there's about 1 inch or 2 inches of water in this jar. Lately, they've been drinking it up, or it's been evaporating just because it's been cold and dry. But probably a mixture of both of it.
Yeah.
Now that they have roots, they're actually starting to use that hydration. So it's really nice. They are starting to yellow out. You can totally tell if they want some minerals. That's for sure.
I use Res Clear in my Oxyclone. Make sure that I don't get problems with Pythium. Sir Dirty is saying that you can also use Botanicare HydroGuard. You use a lot of different things. You can even just use fucking bleach if you get the weak enough concentration of it.
I feel like if you get a small one, you can just do water changes too.
Yeah.
Change it. That's what I was doing. Once a week, something like that.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't realize that you can use a lot of, stuff that you might have under your sink to keep your water clean. Like that Easy Res cleaner stuff is just pool shock, essentially.
Way watered out pool shock.
That like makes you think. Does that make you think twice about RO water, or do you still use RO water and then just treat the water with the pool shock? Like if you have city water.
Yeah, I have
Yeah,
city water, but I still use it.
I'd go
In
the
the cloner.
latter as well. I would go filter the water because you want to filter out all the mineral base, and then you would add the chlorine to sterilize it. And I mean, really, the only mineral that you're putting back in it is chlorine. I'm not necessarily filtering my water for chlorine and chlorine. I'm filtering my water to get the EC down to 0.
Right.
The EC, I mean, I don't know how much of that EC is chloramine and chlorine, but I can't imagine it's much. I'd imagine that it's other shit.
Well, you can actually look on, if you go to your city website, you can look up the water quality, and they have to give you, they will first of all tell you whether it is chlorine or chloramine for your area, what they're using, and they will tell you a concentration in there. And it's nice because it all makes sense.
And I think it's the chloramine is the one that's worse for.
One won't drop out.
Yeah. But either way, I'd imagine that if you're running
Dude, I get mine from the
non-sterile,
lake.
well, if you're running non-sterile, right? If you're running microbes and stuff, you're going to have some kind of a conflict of interest, right? You're going to have, are you going to be killing microbes with the chlorine at some point?
You're killing everything off. You're trying to make a sterile
in the
environment.
res or whatever.
Yeah.
Suppose, but that's good.
Shredder thinks that you have a cat right now, Spartan.
I think you need sodium thiosulfate to actually get chloramine to
They got painted lady
drop
happy.
out.
Yes.
I actually have that.
Yeah, it's also used for making reversal spray.
Is it heavier than water at that point? Would it fall? Could you add that to your res, let it drop out, and then theoretically have a drain valve and drain the bottom, section of your water and pull it out?
I mean, I don't know if there's going to be that much of it to.
It probably wouldn't be necessary.
Yeah, I don't know. From my understanding, it like locks it up.
Makes it fall out of solution.
I see.
I know. I wish I was smarter because there was something I was reading that was saying that it's better to use tap water if you have decent tap water than to use reverse osmosis water for clones. I cannot remember where I was reading that from.
Well, I could understand that for clones because you're just going to have a mineral, a small mineral content in your tap water anyway. And that's going to be perfect for clones.
Time you should use RO water is when you're adding minerals back. If you're going to be adding minerals back to the water, then yeah, you can start out with RO water. But if you're not going to, it's better to have some minerals in the water so it's balanced with the pH. It has some kind of buffer. Yeah. If you put RO water into, say, for example, a soil, it's going to probably strip a lot of those minerals as it fucking rolls through there because it doesn't like to be with no minerals in it.
And now you're using CalMag like crazy, chasing it.
Well, and your results won't be consistent either. So
Your
you'll
yield's gonna be
dose
shitty.
all your stuff, and then the next day you'll go back and your pH will be completely different because you based it on no nutrients.
Well, Bake did say he likes to tinker around with shit, so there you go.
I've used RO water and soil before without any issues, but like that was with the living soil. Like I wasn't watering to any runoff or anything like that.
That's what I do.
Do you think there would be any detriment to using RO in living soil?
No, it'd be.
I mean, as long as you have the proper, as long as you're adding rock dust and stuff, as a top dressing.
Built your soil good.
Yeah, you built your soil right.
But I mean, that's what I would love to find out because that's what I was always worried about. Down where I came from in Florida, we had the chlorine or whatever that did dissipate. So I was like filling gallons and leaving them out,
Yeah.
And because I didn't know, is this like, some crazy chemical to microbes and it's just going to because that's the whole point of chlorine is to get it out of our pipes, get anything living out of there. So is it gonna wipe my whole, bed or is it just a couple? Do we need to worry about it?
So I give you a trick that you can neutralize chlorine pretty quick, and that's just, put your water in a 5-gallon bucket and stir it with your arm. All the bacteria on your arm is gonna use up all the chlorine in that water, or the vast majority of it, within seconds. and you just dechlorinated your water.
Baked, he thinks you're dirty, dude.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's
If
not
it
about
works,
cleaning.
that's cool. I'm gonna try it. I don't know what we have here, so I gotta find out.
You got to
I'll
go
def-
like elbow deep.
Yeah.
They'll usually send
Armpit
you a
deep.
thing. They'll send you a thing in
Balls
the mail
deep.
like every
Balls
quarter.
deep. Teabag it.
Like
It's cold. Woo!
I don't even
Balls
have
Let
deep.
that shit go 24 hours before you go balls deep in her. She's a little cold coming out of the wall.
Wow.
Fuck yeah, especially right now.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think here I get like 52-degree water out of
There
this
you go.
house. It can be cold.
But I would recommend checking just with the water, like you said, to
Yeah.
see if you have chlorine or chloramine in the water, because that
Yeah,
makes a difference.
Like
I
I
don't
said,
know
it's
what water
online.
supply you're on, but I get the water report sent. It's just they send it right to me, so I've never asked for it, but they just like every quarter I get one. So you'll probably get the same kind of deal.
Yeah.
You can just look it up online too, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, it should
German
be. It should be on.
hospitality.
I'm on the one, the big main one. So I'll have to look it up or wait. But I plan on getting RO. The only reason I would want to know how much it affects microbes is because if it doesn't affect them that much, I'd rather just use the quote unquote, heavier ppm, dirtier water, so that the microbes have all the minerals from that.
Well, and you don't get a lot of wastewater. It's better for the
Well,
environment.
yeah, exactly. Our system has never been efficient. I can't wait till they, make them really efficient, but they're not. You gotta have a big old res if you're planning. You better not. You better have a float valve. Stuff like that. But
Yeah.
You
So
should look
even with
into those
the
those hydrologic filters. They make like the small boy and the tall boy, and it's like the bottom half of an RO. So like you won't have any wastewater, but it will clean out a lot of that sediment and chlorine, and
RV filters too, right?
I'm googling it.
All right, Red.
they're nice, man. I used to run that when I was down in Florida and I was on city water, and I mean the ppm was like 250 tap water, and then that filter would bring it down to like 150 or 125, and I don't know, I ran with that for years and never had any issues. Would drink
Yeah.
it too. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, I ran my system up until last year with just straight tap. Then the chlorine didn't really hurt it too bad, but it does make a difference now that I have actual filtration in there to take all that out. It helps.
Yeah.
It's worth making the effort.
Right on, right on. All right, Red. You want to do a final shout out? Let's do your shout out for your show where everyone can find you tonight.
Thank you, man. I actually went ahead and I linked it in the chat a couple of times. If you're not in chat, only listening, Polarity Science should be YouTube channel named Polarity Science. Yeah, I'm gonna try to go live a little after 11 here, maybe 11:15, somewhere between 11:15, 11:30. Turn on your notifications. Just gonna do a little quick welcome episode. Scobo said he'd love to join, so I'm gonna try to figure out how to connect Zoom and get a good live show started up on that YouTube channel, and do a little welcome episode behind the veil. So you guys want to come on over and tune in after this show, get yourselves another one rolled up, and come on and tune in. It's going to be another late night type of a show, and we're going to discuss plant entheogens, harm reduction, fungi, cannabis, a little bit of everything.
Hey, man.
Find me at Red Setter Farm. You can also find me, or on Instagram, you can find me at Red Setter Farm, at Polarity Science. And you can also find me on Monday nights with Scobo, Spartan, Painted Lady, whoever else wants to pop along, myself. Sequence is usually there. His avatar may or may not be. His voice is usually there, at least. We don't know where he comes from. He comes from the mothership.
His voice is like my
Times.
head right now on this. He's like
The
above.
mothership controlling the buttons and dials. And cheers, everyone. Have a great night. Appreciate you all tuning in. I'll see you all next week.
Right. Does anyone else want to do a final shout out?
What you mean tomorrow night, Red?
No, he's doing it tonight.
Yeah, after the show
well,
tonight.
I will see everybody tomorrow night on the late sesh. I will see everybody who's tuning into the Michigan Bros Grow Show next week on the Michigan Bros Grow Show. I guess I was specifically only signing off on Michigan Bros.
He'll be
Bro
on
Show.
bullshit. Bullshit.
I will see you on the late sesh tomorrow night.
He's got to
Morning.
check his schedule.
What a
11
confusing way to
11
end the
PM.
show, right?
So much going on. Find
I
me
just
here,
wanted to-
there, and everywhere.
Why do you do shout outs, Sequence? Why do you even let these things go off rail like this?
New standard Hazel Park, Detroit, Michigan.
We chime in there and just say that if anybody wants to get in touch with anyone on the panel, a great way to do that is to join the MBGS Discord. And you can find the link normally located below the episode here.
I just actually downloaded it on my phone, so
Thank you, guys.
I'll make an effort.
I have the app on my old phone, but I got a new
Baby,
phone
come
like a
back.
year ago.